Yo, Vlad, we hear a creaky chair, bro.
All right, we should be broadcasting.
Yo, Vlad, post a link.
Hold on a sec. I think
All
I've
right,
got to
we
do
should
something.
be broadcasting.
Yo, Vlad,
There,
post a link.
can you hear me?
Hold on a sec. I think All right, we should be broadcasting.
Yo, Vlad, MK's gonna lose you.
Yeah.
Post a link.
Can you hear me? Ah, can you hear me? Seriously?
Broadcasting.
Yo, Vlad,
Whoa.
MK's gonna lose you. Post a link.
Can you hear me? Ah, can you hear me? Oh, there we go. There we go. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, post a link.
Hold on a sec. I'm just trying to figure out the audio here. Give me a second.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. All right. Right. So you want the link, do ya? So let me set up live dashboard. There we go. Oh no, I've already got one there.
Elvin, and all the other black Israelites distrust Benny these days. They were commenting on you, Benny, in the MK hangout.
We're live, by the way, so we're good.
Yeah, link.
The link. Oh yes. The link will be in a minute.
Yes, Benny. They're accusing you of being a sniper and accusing you of unsultry things.
Ben, you shouldn't do that. All right, link in the side chat, everybody. And where else would you like the link? I can do it right in here, I suppose.
Yes.
There. Why did he leave? Yo, why did you leave?
Yo, you just posted the same link.
Exactly. Now go to the YouTube. Actually, I'll give you the YouTube. Right, hold on a sec. I'll give you the YouTube. Hold on a minute. So you're looking for the link. Did you want the link to the YouTube channel to watch, or which one? You're muted down, but there's the I could share that link as well, I guess. Oh, I've got to get the down. You're muted, and we are live.
I'm confused on what's going on. I want to go to the real live hangout.
This is the real live hangout. Go to that link that I gave you, and you'll see that you're on it. That last one. No, I still have to leave. Jesus Christ! Just open it up in another browser. What a guy. He'll figure it out, I hope. It's funny though. Okay, I'm just sending out some invitations in the meantime, so just give me 1 minute, please. Alright, so there we go. Where was I sharing? Oh, there it is. Okay. There we go. I don't hear any audio. Let me just see if I can. I don't hear any audio. Okay, so that is working. All right, just checking. Just checking. We have 3 people watching. To the 3 of you, which probably includes me and Benny and the join link is in the side chat of the YouTube page. Now, what happened to down? What's with this guy? Where's down now? He must be. Maybe he's just watching it without wanting to be in the hangout. Is that possible? So how come the ball stays yellow when I talk and doesn't change? This is a live hangout, dude. Maybe because you have me I don't know if you clicked. Oh, maybe you did. No. Now I got Trollolin clicked. Now I got me clicked. Now I got Trollolin. And now I didn't have you clicked, but I clicked on this. I got no one. I click white box myself, unwhite box myself. Oh, no. I'm looking at the actual hangout. If I'm not clicking on somebody, you're the guy who's showing. Thank you. Now there you go, down. Now you got it. You understand now? Down. We can't hear you. Oh dear. Where's Bulldog? He also ran away. We still don't hear you, down. No, down. I don't know if we can hear anybody, because Trollolin is muted and so is Benny. But Benny, where's Arnold? I want to know if the internet stream can hear me. No, we don't. What's happening to burn to down?
What's up?
Ah, there you go. Good.
Benny!
Howdy, stranger.
Benny!
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you. Alright, so you understand how the live stream works now? We're actually live streaming. When you're in this hangout, you didn't have to leave. Don't press exit. Now, MK, dishonestly selling the snake oil. This is what we're talking about, MK.
MK went on record saying that he's not dishonest for trying to sell the whole delusional God thing. because
Yeah.
because he honestly believes in it. So by that logic and rationale, if you're a snake oil salesman and you honestly believe that snake oil will cure somebody's paralysis or cure their ailments, then you should be allowed to sell the snake oil as long as you believe it'll work.
So as long as you believe that there's a God and that there's everlasting life and all this nonsense, then you're not a snake oil salesman? That's fucked up. That's fucked up logic.
Yeah, well, the logic is I don't need any evidence because as long as I believe in it, I can sell it as the truth.
That's horrible, horrible. I'm mortified.
Well, we got to get MK over here to explain himself.
Oh, I didn't even add him in. Maybe I should.
Yeah, Adam. But will he see the title of the hangout? See, this is the problem. He needs to see the title.
Doesn't matter. Let him. Oh yeah, I can just send him the title of the hangout like this. Well, I should get right from here. Doom, doom. I'll send it to him in a private message, and then he'll have no choice. Oh, I have to send him an invitation to chat on Hangout. That's fucked up. Why? Okay, I'll just put it on his channel. Fuck it. Let's see if that works. Aha, yes. I put it in his external chat. It's gonna get some attention.
Well, I better get some attention because it's the fact of the matter.
Yeah, no, it's everybody in that chat, in that external chat, can see. Everybody. Actually, I don't even need that one. Right. Everybody, prepare for battle. Battle stations.
Red alert.
We might have some MK supporters come in and then to challenge us. In which case, might I say, we must be vigilant. That's right. If you support MK, stay away. We got the dogs on our side. This Chaswold is going to come in a second, I think. Chaz has down blocked. Chaz has down. Well, Chaz can unblock down. Or not. Right? MK, come and... Okay. Oh, I guess I should give him the link to come in. All right, let's update everybody what we're trying to do here. Down witnessed or was in in a hangout with MK and witnessed him claiming. What was he claiming, Down? If you want to sort of, you know it more better than us. What was the claim from MK or by MK? James,
Hey,
how are you doing? Welcome.
good.
Welcome. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming in.
yeah, I just saw the link pop up on my phone.
Oh, really? Cool. I'm not too sure how it got there, but I tried to send it out where I could, I guess. We are discussing the dishonesty that MK shows, the bias that he shows towards mythologists over rationalists in his hangouts.
Yeah, I can definitely see he has a proclivity for things that have minimal like certainty almost. Like there's maximal certainty and there's minimal certainty, and he harps on that 2% or 1% chance that something could be.
That's crazy. I mean, that is actually ignorant thinking. It has to be, because why would you not take the preponderance of common sense, rational thinking, evidence, and just admit to yourself that that's the facts are the facts. You can't change them. You can't pretend them away. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But although I don't think MK is I don't think he's aware that his thought process is faulty. I think in some weird ways actually more honest than certain Christians, in the sense that he's I don't know, I don't want to say, yeah, no, he's, I don't want to say stupid, but
You don't say what?
I don't think he's stupid. I just think he really wants this to be true.
Yeah, but you know, I could tell you all day long that I see Elvis in my kitchen. But if I believe that, even though it's not true, it doesn't make it true. Just because I believe it doesn't make it true. Therefore, if I go around telling you that Elvis is in my kitchen, but I have no evidence, the part where you become dishonest is a part where you refuse to accept the applicability of evidence. That's where the dishonesty comes in.
Yeah.
Where you suspend all logic and suspend all normal considerations that somebody should make before making a claim. You're being dishonest by doing that.
I guess I'd say it's a betrayal of intelligence and basic intuition.
Well, it's beyond a betrayal. It's being dishonest. You know, if you want to betray yourself and your senses, whatever. But to then take your betrayal and pass around this view that this God is real or this belief is real, that's harmful.
It is harmful.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you got to think, how did he fall into this mindset? Because, I mean, I listened to a conversation yesterday, 2 conversations with him and other people. Probably the worst conversations I've ever heard in my life. Because the positions he was taking was just so minutiae, so small, so tedious. And it was just... But I guess how does someone get to that point to harp on something or blow up that angle of a discussion.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by that?
Like, how does someone go from looking at the world relatively normally to taking like the flip side, kind of like those? I think he has the same mindset ghost hunters have. Like, have you seen those TV shows how ghost hunters go into a house and they
No.
bring all their equipment and they want to find a ghost and they like stay there overnight?
No.
The thing is,
I think MK, if I'm not mistaken, he claimed at one point to have been an atheist, right?
yeah, he did.
Well, there's no that in itself is is MK's ultimate lie. He has never been an atheist. He claims to be an atheist. Bullshit. I'm calling you, MK, on that. Bullshit. You've never been an atheist. You even while claiming to have been an atheist, you admit that you weren't an atheist because you've always had this sort of possibility about this God. So bullshit. You're not an atheist, and you never have been. Ever. You will be, but you never have been. So get in here. Ah, there you are, dude. Finally. Welcome,
Okay.
by the way. Welcome, MK.
Welcome. I do think I was an atheist because,
No, you couldn't have. Because, sorry.
well, I mean, what is an atheist? To me, it's just you don't believe in God.
You believed in God. You believed in the possibility that God is, is definitely not out of the question. That's not being an atheist.
Okay.
So, when you claim to have been an atheist, I feel insulted because I'm an atheist. God does not exist. God is imaginary. There's no possibility. How can you be an atheist and I be an atheist at the same time?
Well, there was a point in time where I don't feel like I even considered that it could be possible. So I think by that definition, I was an atheist. But there were times I was maybe that you would rather just call agnostic.
I don't think agnostic. I think agnostic is just a pussy word. You're either a theist or you're an atheist. That's it. There's nothing in between. That is so. That in itself, I think, is dishonest by saying, you're agnostic. Because if you're agnostic and you think there's a possibility that there's some supernatural creator, etc., you're a theist. Rant over. What do you say? Hey, realistic. Any comments?
Okay, so we just disagree on definitions. But you know what? I think I can. I don't mind adopting your definition. If you're going to say an atheist is someone who doesn't even grant the possibility that God exists, then yeah, I believe there was a point in time in my life where I did fit that bill.
Okay, so how could if you are at the point where you're rational enough to understand how it is not impossible for the supernatural, for creator or anything to exist, how do you lose that rational grasp on reality? How is it possible to slip? What sent you down the circling the drain hole before bloop?
Okay, well, I think I just basically had a way of thinking, which was, wait a minute, I could be wrong.
Well, hold on a sec. you were before you were an atheist. You must have been thinking about it. You know, is there, isn't there, is there, isn't there? And then you said there isn't. Perfectly rational, there isn't.
Right.
But then to go back on that is, I find that irrational.
Well, I mean, the reason I went back on it was because I guess somewhere along the line, the thought came to me, or I became convinced that it really doesn't matter what I believe, because I could believe right now that I'm, like, for example, let's take someone in some little village or whatever in like Asia, or like in the countryside. Well, some of those people, they don't even know how old they are, you know, because they didn't even keep track of that stuff.
Aren't
So-
Stephen,
So,
aren't you defining atheism in a really weird way?
Elaborate, please.
Well, don't you think that it's possible for people just to be like, don't you think it's possible that people could change their mind about some proposition and then be theists? Like, if you believe at one point God does not exist, and then you change your mind, after you change your mind, you're a theist. But that doesn't mean that during the time that you believed that God does not exist, you weren't an atheist.
If you understand that God is that God is just a imaginary. It's imaginary. It's a concept, abstract concept that humans made up, philosophy, whatever.
Let me give you an example.
Well, I haven't
What-
finished.
Okay.
If you understand that the God concept is imaginary, it's just an abstract concept. If you understand that and grasp it, I don't see how you could change your mind from that absolute rational understanding, sane, to 180 degrees backwards, saying that, and then to pinpoint like MK's. Well, I don't know. You used to be a Christian, I guess. I don't know what you are right now, but to take that Abrahamic look at the world from a sane viewpoint, from reality, you sort of twist it all around to fit some kind of a fairy tale narrative. Why? How?
Right, but I'm just the point that I was making was just that if you come to believe something is true, like let's say you believe Santa Claus is a fictitious character, right, and you're 100% confident in that belief, but then someone shows you empirical evidence that Santa Claus exists, right, and that he flies around during Christmas with like reindeer and shit that can fly. Like, if someone shows you empirical evidence of this stuff, and then you change your mind, right? It doesn't mean that at that point where you thought Santa Claus was fictitious or whatever, it doesn't mean that you actually believed in Santa Claus and you weren't actually, whatever, an Santa Clausist or whatever, right? So I think the same is true with atheism. If you're just saying that you don't understand MK's psychology when it comes to why he has the belief he has, that's fine, but it doesn't show that at the time that he didn't actually believe that there was no God, right? It's just you're just saying that I find his psychology to be interesting, which is a different question of whether or not he actually believed this or disbelieved this.
No,
right?
I'm calling him out on. I'm saying he was not an atheist. Because if you are an atheist, you stay an atheist. If you really are an atheist, you stay an atheist. Ask anybody else in this room who's an atheist. There's no, unless you become mentally unhinged, there's no sliding back, literally.
But I'm asking why you define atheism that way, as opposed to a person who believes that God does not exist.
Because then you're bringing belief into it, and belief is something that doesn't have to be a fact. And I don't work in belief; I work in facts. I work with facts.
Well, don't you think that, when you say you work with facts, don't you take a fact to be something that makes the beliefs you have true? So if I believe that it rained, wouldn't the fact that it rained be
No,
that what makes my belief?
no. That means nothing. What do you mean you believe it rained when? Now, right now?
No, if I'm saying like if I tell you it rained last night, and that's an honest attestation, right?
Yeah, but there's no
What?
belief. It's a fact.
Well, if it, I mean, there could or could not be a truth maker of that belief. The belief could be false, right?
The belief of what?
That if I believe it rained last night, I could have a false belief.
No, but you can check because you can't have a false belief when it comes to facts. No, you see, that's what you seem to be trying to bring across. I don't see how you could possibly say if I believe a fact is false or unfactual, then it's unfactual. I don't. You can't take a stand like that. It doesn't make any sense at
I'm,
all.
I'm saying I'm saying that there's a difference between our attitudes towards propositions and the truth of the propositions themselves, right?
I have no idea what that means.
Well, a proposition is that it rained last night.
It's
My
not a
attitude,
proposition. It's not a proposition. It either rained or didn't rain. Check the weather. Check the newspaper. Go outside. Check. Feel. It's a fact. It's not a belief. It's not a proposition. It's not. It's not. There's
what do you
nothing.
mean? It's
It's.
not
It's. It is. It did or it didn't.
a proposition is like a declarative statement. You don't think that it rained last night is a declarative statement?
When the rain doesn't appear in the supernatural world, it appears in the real world. When you're talking about your sky daddy, you're talking about things that you believe in your head that which are only in your head. You believe that for somehow you can actually realize it in reality.
I'm
Bizarre.
not saying I'm not saying that there doesn't have to be truth makers for propositions. Like I'm not saying that your beliefs some beliefs don't require evidence. Right? I agree that some beliefs require evidence, but the point is that for the most part, when we talk about who's an atheist and who's not an atheist, we're talking about what they take to be true, what they believe is true, irrespective of whether they're right. Right? So I'm an atheist, even if I'm wrong about God existing, right? If God exists and I'm just mistaken, then I'm still an atheist. Even if it's true, like that's the same with anything, right? If I believe that my mother was home all day yesterday and she actually went to the store, right? Um, I'm gonna have that belief irrespective of whether or not that belief is true. Even if I can check it, even if there's evidence for those beliefs. The point is that insofar as atheism is concerned, right, all we're talking about is what a person believes.
No, that's not true. An atheist knows that it's impossible for there to be a God. An atheist knows that there's no need for there to be a God. An atheist knows that the concept of the creator God is imaginary, is just a story. That's it. There's no hell, there's no, the heaven, there's no ghosts and angels and none of that. It's just folklore at the very best. So
Well, if you're
so
a person,
to take that folklore and put it against reality and say, well, you can either accept reality or you can accept folklore, it's all the same, is wrong. It's dishonest.
but don't you think that anybody could say that about any proposition? I mean, I think that there are going to be positions that have evidence for them, and I think that atheism is more likely to have evidence for its truth than theism is. But what I don't understand is when we're talking about like what a person believes, it's almost as if you're saying people can't change their mind, right? Because if someone changes their mind, then that means that they didn't hold the position that they held before, right? Which is just silly, right? It's almost like
but,
you're
but
saying that.
no. What's silly? Hold on a second. What's silly is what you just said. That atheism needs evidence or has evidence. Atheism does not need evidence. The person making the claim.
I don't think I said that. I don't think I said that.
Talking. Yes, he did. Hold on a second. The person
No, I didn't.
Yes, he did. The person making the claim that a God exists must provide the evidence. I don't need to provide the evidence that God does not exist because God has not yet been proven. Once you prove that a God exists, then I will bring evidence to show that he does not exist.
Well, you can posit. Look, you can posit hypothetical.
It's not a hypothetical. It's like saying that,
Will you
that
stop
you're
yelling,
a murderer.
please?
I gotta have evidence to say you're a murderer in court. I can't just say you're a murderer.
Will you stop yelling, please?
Yeah, let's keep it down.
Look, you can posit a hypothetical entity and see what follows from that. And if you don't observe what you would expect to observe, given the truth of theism, then you can say that that is evidence that atheism is true.
Why do you keep putting your propaganda into this? The truth of theism. There is no truth in theism. That's a misnomer. Don't even say that.
I don't understand. You don't understand what I'm arguing, right? I'm arguing that there can be evidence for atheism.
There doesn't need to be evidence for atheism.
Exactly.
Atheism is merely a lack of belief. That's all it is. Why do I need evidence for a lack of belief?
If nobody had ever invented gods or created or ever thought of anything supernatural ever, okay, you wouldn't have to invent atheism because they wouldn't need to be, right? Atheism is a rational objection to presenting fairy tales as real. That's it.
I'm having trouble understanding. Like there's a difference between not believing that God exists, right? It's like saying something like, I don't believe God exists, and saying something like, I believe that there are no gods, right? And I'm saying that for the latter proposition, you can have evidence given specific God hypotheses, right? So like if you guys have ever heard of the problem of evil, there's an evidential problem of evil.
Stop using the scientific term hypothesis. It is not a hypothesis to say that God exists. A hypothesis is an educated matter. There is nothing educated about saying that a God exists.
Just talk.
Well, you're trying to use science. You're trying to pervert science to show that your whole God bullshit has some semblance in reality. It has nothing at all to do with reality. This is fantasy land. This is la la land. This is like saying that it's okay for me to have a hypothesis that says that unicorns and fairies fly through fucking rainbows. You cannot use the word hypothesis.
Are you thinking that realist is arguing for God?
Yeah, I'm arguing that you can have evidence for atheism. I'm an atheist. I don't understand what you're...
You do not need any evidence for atheism. You're not making any sense.
Look, if you have a belief, right? Your belief is that...
Okay, if I am never charged with murder, I mean, do I still need to have evidence that I'm not a murderer? You don't make any sense.
Well, look, if the proposition is something like you murdered somebody and you take that proposition to be false and someone asks you to justify
No, you're not doing it right. There is no proposition that I murdered anybody. In atheism, there's no proposition that I murdered anybody. You're using the wrong logic here. You're not applying your own logic. Your own logic is that when you're never charged with murder, you somehow have to provide evidence that you're not a murderer.
Well, I'm not talking about propositions that people don't hold.
That's what it's like as an atheist. Like an atheist does not need to provide any evidence of anything because I never made a claim of anything.
If you were to claim that you were not a murderer and someone were skeptical of that claim, in order to convince the person that you're not a murderer, you would have to provide that person evidence.
I wouldn't even bother trying to convince them. This is where you're totally wrong on this. And it's not the atheist's job to go around and convince people of this stuff. It's our job to go after people who claim there's evidence that God exists. Once they provide the evidence, then we go in and say, no, that's a fairy tale. Until they provide the evidence, though, it's really pointless.
Darren, why don't you just move back from your microphone a couple of inches?
I agree that there's no reason.
Or you could just stop yelling.
I agree that there is no reason to believe someone who makes a claim and that doesn't provide you with evidence for that claim. But I think that's distinct from saying that you're justified in rejecting the proposition, which, by my lights, I think I'm justified in rejecting that such things as gods exist. Right? If someone were to say to me, gods exist, I would say, no, they don't exist. And I would explain why they don't exist.
Okay. Anyways, this conversation was about Jesus, you, me, and I still want an answer. MK, are you an atheist or a theist? Answer the question.
Theist.
Then why did you come in here telling Sydney that you're an atheist?
No, I said that I used to be an atheist.
Sydney, did I mishear him?
No.
I was just engaging.
One sec, realistic. Sydney. So he did come in and say he's an atheist or not, Sydney?
He claimed to have been an atheist at one point, and I called him on that because I don't believe he could have been an atheist as I define atheism, as I see it, and there's no way I see that you can sort of become that you can sort of know what's going on and then start to use illogical stories, unconfirmed, unsubstantiated as your basis for your worldview. There's something that doesn't click.
Now, real quick, I just want to say that I'm not disputing what you're claiming, Sydney, because I agree that on your definition, MK was not ever an atheist, right? Presumably, you wouldn't know if you're an atheist, because if you became a theist... Okay,
MK is here. Can you let MK respond to what Sydney just said and stop trying to get in the middle? MK, do you want to respond to what Sydney said?
Well, I'm just trying to... I think there's something important being discussed.
No, it's not
important.
Yeah,
but it is MK's... It is MK's...
Josh, there's nothing really important being discussed here.
It is MK's to defend, right?
Don't contravene me, Tom.
MK, go ahead.
Okay, what's the question?
Sydney just responded to you for like 20 seconds worth and said that he didn't think you were being genuine when he said that you were an atheist. You were never a legitimate atheist if you still had such and such worldview. So respond to what he said.
Well,
okay.
MK already responded that, I mean, when I came in...
Can you stop talking over MK? Is your name MK? Stop this.
Well,
you don't need your rational, cool, intellectual take on everything. Let MK respond.
Let MK respond. Yeah.
I just want to say that MK has already responded. When I came in...
Shut up, MK.
Well, he just asked what the question was. So
when I came in the hangout, right?
Okay, nobody cares when he came in the hangout.
Hold on a sec, down, relax. Just relax.
When I came in the hangout...
Yeah.
Dude, stop talking. Let MK respond.
Just wait. Let him have his say.
When I came in the hangout, MK already said that this was a terminological dispute. He said, based on your definition, he was not an atheist, but based on his definition of what an atheist is, which is the common sense definition, I take it, he was an atheist.
Okay, so why are you talking for MK when MK is right here and is perfectly able to talk for himself?
Because I'm thinking that maybe if you hear it from a choir of voices, you'll be more likely to accept.
I don't care about your voice.
Already given.
Let MK respond. I'm perfectly okay with MK saying what he wants to say. Let him say it.
Yeah, let's hear from MK himself.
Okay, well, I feel that there was a time where I didn't even think it was possible that there was a God, and then I feel that later there was a time where I still didn't believe there was a God. But then I said, yeah, maybe it's possible.
What?
So by your definition, Sydney, I think I have been an atheist.
You can't. How can you know that there's no God and it's impossible for there to be a God, and then know the absolute opposite?
Well, of course you're wrong MK, that by his definition, you're an atheist, because by his definition, you're an atheist if and only if, once you become an atheist, you're an atheist for the rest of your life, right? You're a theist now, so it seems like it's a trivial matter for you to say that on Sydney's definition, you're not an atheist. But Sydney's definition doesn't capture how we use those terms in the real world, you know?
Well, I don't think the terms are used correctly in the real world. I don't think the term agnostic even belongs in this debate.
Why not?
It's theist or atheist. That's it. There's no in between. It's like you might as well not even be here, because if you can't even make up your mind about about between reality and non-reality, then you're just plain stupid.
MK, do you agree that by Sydney's definition, you were never an atheist?
Oh, well, I'm not sure his definition includes that you have to be a lifetime atheist to be an atheist.
He just said that. That's what he stipulated.
You know, Joe, realistic. I'm getting sick and tired of this third person in the middle crowd. Can you stop doing this and let MK respond? Stop trying to.
Hold on a sec. Down, relax. Down.
I'm talking directly to MK.
Yeah, relax, exactly.
Okay, well, we don't need you to play intermediary, okay? This is not mediation. Shut up.
Well, your abrasive attitude doesn't help things, okay?
Well, my abrasive attitude shows just how disgruntled people are.
Yeah, but
somebody wants to be in the middle of communication between two grown adults, like we're children in kindergarten, and he has to translate for us.
Well, children in kindergarten shout on the playground, and we don't allow that in this hangout in this playground. Please stop shouting.
Yeah, well, on the playground of Congress, Dick Cheney socked a senator in the face. So yes, we do allow all kinds of decorum.
I don't control Congress. I swear I don't, or the Senate, or the.
Okay, yo, MK, this hangout was set up to address your ambiguities on things, and I want to tell you firsthand, MK, that I think you are dishonest. You are dishonest when you posit that a God could exist or does exist or may exist. You're no different than a snake oil salesman who sells snake oil and goes around and says that, well, because I believe the snake oil cures people who are paraplegic, it's okay for me to sell it to them and tell them that it'll cure their illness. Even if you believe that, that's still dishonest. You following me, MK?
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. I think dishonest is a strong word for that.
How else would you put it? What else would you say? So as long as I believe that my snake oil works, I can sell it to whoever I want, and I can tell them that it does work. That's okay, as long as you believe it.
Well,
it wouldn't be dishonest, would it? Do you believe it?
Even though scientifically it is not possible for a vial of liquid to cure somebody of paralysis and a spinal injury, you're going to go around and ignore what science says in the matter and say that, well, I still believe it, even though science shows that it's not possible.
Well, if you believe it, then you reject what science says. It doesn't follow from that you're being dishonest.
Sydney, are you still there?
You'd have to be deliberately lying.
I'm here.
Okay, Sydney, what's your take on what I just said? Because realistic is saying
my take is that I get a headache because you're shouting.
Okay, well then I'll just leave. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right. So okay, MK.
Yep.
Basically, what Down had said was that you lied about being an atheist, and he had a specific issue with that, right?
Well, I definitely didn't lie about being an atheist. So
well, this was in a previous hangout that you guys were in.
I don't know why you're saying that. I have no idea.
Did you ever used to be a Christian?
Well, my question to you directly was, how did you go from the rational conclusion that a God is not possible, that existence is essentially infinite, and there's no beginning and no end, to there was nothing and then there was something and God did it?
Okay. Oh, wow, that's a long connection there. But basically, people, they, learn stuff is, from when you're younger. If you get older, you're probably going to learn stuff in that time. And so I basically came to this later way of thinking about things in regard to the God thing. I was like, oh, you know what? I don't know. Maybe there is a God.
You said maybe there is? Just from being totally sure that there isn't, maybe there. Why? What is it? What metaphysical adventure did you have to endure in order to bring a measure of irrationality into your thinking?
Yeah, nothing really. I mean, it was just like I had reasons why I didn't think there was a God. And then, I don't know, just fundamental principles in my mind, I guess, kicked in, which was, hey, just because I believe stuff doesn't mean that my beliefs are actually true. I just believe them. So I was like, well, maybe I mean, it was just a fundamental principle that applied to everything. Like I could have applied it to anything in life, but in application to the God thing, it was like, oh, okay, well, if I'm going to apply the principle to the God thing, then it's like, okay, yeah, maybe I could be wrong about whatever I think about the God thing.
But that, so you're not into preaching the gospel or anything like that. You're are you still agnostic then?
No, I'm Christian now, but yeah, I'm not really into preaching the gospel too much now, at least not at this phase of my life.
When I was in your hangout earlier, I proposed a debate based on Christians defending their faith, not using the Gospels. In other words, if you were a first or second century Christian, where there was no Bible as such, there were no Gospels, how would you promote your Christianity to a non-believer like me back in the year 250 or something like that? How would you do that as a Christian?
That's interesting, because I would probably maybe do something similar to what I do now. What I do now is I don't actually make a strong case for the Christian God, like a positive claim. I don't do that. What I do is when people make arguments against the Christian God, what I do is I feel that I kind of defeat those arguments. I don't really necessarily argue for the Christian God's existence. I kind of just argue against arguments that try to knock him out. See? So back then or now, I really don't feel like I would be equipped to like argue for his existence. Like I never really got into that.
Sydney, real quick, don't you think that you could be convinced to be a theist if there were evidence for the God they propose?
I'm sorry. So let me just see if I understood what you said. Couldn't I be convinced if there's evidence for the God that they propose?
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to bring the evidence and let me have a look at the evidence and ponder it a little bit. But when you just say evidence, I'm not sure.
Why does you analyzing the evidence have to do with their analyzation of the evidence?
I'm not. Hold on, Tom. I just want to figure
Well,
out.
they have no evidence.
Let's say perhaps they were to come into contact with evidence, right? And that you found that evidence persuasive. Don't you think that then you could be a theist?
Well, the only way I'd find that evidence persuasive, and yes, the answer is yes, but the only way I'd find that evidence persuasive was if I entertained the possibility that there can be a supernatural, whatever entity.
Right.
Right.
So if your definition of atheism is something like you're going to presuppose that God can't exist under all circumstances, and if a person doesn't have that presupposition, right, that there can't be evidence or not for God, right, that there's no possibility ever that they could ever be convinced or even have maybe a semantic discussion about what people take gods to mean or anything like that. If that's your position of if that's what your definition of atheism, then you'll find that there are very, very few atheists under that definition. I mean, I don't even meet that definition of atheism. And I think that I think specific conceptions of God are impossible. You know?
Well, yes, all conceptions of God are impossible. I mean, they're not impossible conceptually, of course, but they certainly are. That's where they stay at the conceptual level.
I actually disagree with that. I actually think that most gods are conceptually impossible.
Well, all gods are well, no, they're not conceptually impossible. You can conceive of I don't know, a fourth dimension, if you like. Conceive.
I think that might be a bit different because I think there might be able to, depending on what one means by a fourth dimension, I think there might actually be able to be evidence for something like a fourth dimension.
All right then.
Again,
So then if there's evidence for it, then you certainly know what it looks like. You can sort of make an abstract. You can conceive it, and if there's evidence for it, then it's not supernatural. It's natural.
But what I'm saying is that I think that the concepts involved in theism produce contradictions, and I think contradictions aren't instantiated in any possible world. So when I say conceptually impossible, I'm saying given the concepts outlined by theism, it's going to always be false that is a possible world, right? That is ever true. That's what I mean when I say conceptually impossible.
Well, when your known premise is that existence is infinite and there never was a beginning, then to entertain that there was a beginning in any way whatsoever that is not physical, or that is somehow mystical or mythical, is the stuff of campfire stories. That's it.
I mean, I'm not really inclined to disagree with you that they don't have good reasons to believe in God, but what I'm saying is that I think the common sense definition of atheism is simply someone who, during the time of their attestation, believes that a God does not exist, right? I don't think it has to apply to all tensed states in which that person exists. And I think that's true of most other beliefs, most other labels, that people give people.
Yeah.
Right. Like if I said I'm a Humean about causality or something, and then I adopt some sort of causal essentialist view, it doesn't mean that at some other point in time I wasn't a Humean, right? Even if I thought at that time I had good reasons to believe that Hume's account of causality was accurate, right? If someone posited a causal essentialist view and I was persuaded by that, then I would change my view and I would no longer be a Humean. Similarly, if someone provides MK with what he takes to be good reasons to believe that God exists, then he's simply no longer an atheist and then becomes a theist. And I think that's the common sense way we use the term atheist or theist,
Sydney, were you ever a Christian?
No.
But you know that lots of atheists were, right?
I know what they say, and I know that
You
a lot
acknowledge the fact that a lot of atheists profess to have once been Christian. Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So you agree, which is contradictory to what you're trying to say. If you agree that they professed to say that before, and you acknowledge that now they are atheists,
Right.
that is inconsistent with what you are addressing MK.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Because once they are atheists, they are rationally sane, okay?
Once they are Christian, and they believe that this God all-powerful has his hand in every little thing, they can't undo that, is what you're saying. But they can, can't they?
Perhaps if they've been indoctrinated since a very young age, maybe they find it very difficult to let go. Yeah, I can see that.
If I've been married,
I can see that the psyche can be traumatized by the fear, hell and all this kind of stuff. If you start instilling it into kids under the age of 7, once that happens, you have a problem.
If I've been married to my wife for 20 years, and all the while she swears to me she's never cheated on me, and I believe her, and then at the end of the 20 years I found out that she did cheat on me, right? Does that mean that I didn't believe that she was being faithful the whole 20 years? That's what you're saying.
Of course you believed it, but that's the facts. That's what I'm saying. There's a difference between belief
of course
and
I believed
facts and facts. So if you believe something, but I can show you a fact to disprove it, or for you to doubt it, or for there to be reasonable doubt or whatever, you'd be fine with that.
Well, I think there's something to Tom's analogy, even though he didn't bring it out explicitly. You might as well say something to the effect like, once you're married, right, you can never be unmarried. That's it. That's the same as saying once you're an atheist, you can never not be an atheist, right?
Absolute nonsense. Marriage is not a.
We agree.
Marriage is an institution. It's not it's not primarily a philosophy.
Well, I know it's not. I know that I'm not saying that they're the same thing. I'm saying that there's an analogy between the two things, in that you're using a strange definition of atheism, wherein a person, once they become an atheist, they have to be an atheist the rest of their life. Similarly, it would be equally strange if someone were to say, well, once you're a married person, you have to be a married person for the rest of your life. You can never be an unmarried person, right? You can never get divorced.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But to cut to the chase, I think being an atheist is a rational, common sense, sane position. Okay, and that's what I claim. With MK, when he says he's an atheist, so he's a rational, sane person with common sense. I get it, but I asked him, what's the process that makes you go from sane and rational, common sense thinking to blow it out of the water, to go and throw all your eggs in one basket with a mythical, folklorish, highly suspect.
Okay, so you want to say that if a person is an atheist, then they're sane, and they wouldn't fall for stupid, dumb shit stuff like
Pretty
Christianity,
much, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, by that rationale, right, any Christian who is a fucking idiot and would fall for dumb shit like that would never be able to rationally transition to become an atheist. But that happens all the time, doesn't it?
I think that's a whole different conversation. The actual transition is, that's just a matter of time, right? Transition is a temporal thing.
Right, but if you're saying that someone who's stupid enough to be a Christian, they're never gonna unstupid and be unrational, unless you can see
they can be.
that the rational can become irrational to become a Christian.
Well, you take Dan Barker and you take Matt Dillahunty and you take,
but then disagree with the conclusion.
No, I think you're overthinking. You're overthinking, and you need to keep it simple. I think that's what's happening.
No, the problem is you're underthinking.
Never heard that term before. Explain. Hello?
To understand a concept, it takes X amount of thinking. You are not meeting X. You are below X, therefore not understanding.
You're funny. So underthinking and coming to an atheist conclusion is a bad thing. Somehow.
I don't see what you're talking about.
Well, you're the one who you said I was underthinking. So what do you mean by that?
I think I made it quite clear.
Well, could you please make it? I didn't get it the first time.
I define underthinking as not meeting the required amount of thinking to understand a concept, right? I define that as underthinking. I say you're underthinking this subject matter we're discussing, the concept of atheism, therefore you're not understanding it.
Atheism is not a concept. If atheism is a it's really not really, it's not really anything. It's just an acknowledgement of reality. I think there's no it's binary. You are an atheist or you're not an atheist. You're not in between.
Isn't the
Why?
term agnostic in between?
That's well in my orthodoxy, in my atheist orthodoxy, I put agnostics in the same column as theists. Same thing. Agnostic or theist to me is the same thing.
But surely you think there's a difference. Like, look, if I were to tell you how many stars are there, and then one person says, there are 863 octillion, 973 septillion, whatever, like we go on. There's surely a difference between a person affirming that that's true, right? Saying, yeah, I believe what you're saying about the number of stars. And then another person saying something like, I don't know how many stars there are, right?
So what if the person who came up with the figure used scientific methodology to come up with the figure?
Well, I'm not saying, look, I'm not talking about whether it's rational to be agnostic. I'm saying that there's a difference between the two, right? And so there's a difference between believing that the stars have that number and not believing either way, whether it is that number or not that number, and then believing that it's not that number, right? So that's the standard theist, agnostic, atheist sort of trichotomy. The one person believes that there are X number of stars. The other person doesn't believe that there are X number of stars, but he also doesn't believe that there is not X number of stars, right? And then the third person believes that there is not X number of stars.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you've got a Jew who believes that there's a God, but there's no Jesus and there's no Muhammad. Then you got the Christian who believes there is a God and his name is Jesus, and there's no
There are
Muhammad,
different types of...
and there's no Allah. Then you got the Muslim who believes that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet, and the Jews got it wrong, and the Christianity, the God of the Christians is really just a prophet of the Muslims. I mean, where's the logic and rationale and all that?
I'm not saying that there aren't different types of theism, right?
Different types of there's one type of monotheism. That's it.
No, you can believe in
There's
all
three
sorts of
views on it, I think, but there's one. Monotheism is monotheism. No matter how you define it in more detail, it's still one. Even the Christians somehow get to one from three, or three from one, or whatever. But it all boils down to one.
I'm gonna go, so I'll talk to you later.
Okay, see ya. Hello, Amy. Hello. Oh, Green Soul left. Hello, Godless
How
Tom.
are you doing?
I'm battling Theist today. It's like my laser. I need my laser beam. What do they call that laser tool?
You need to get a laser pen.
Yes, I need that to defend myself.
Aye. Get a laser pen and just fucking shove it in their eyes.
Not a laser pen, one of those Star Wars laser things, whatever they're called.
I know what you mean. How are you doing?
I'm alright. I'm obviously in a shit disturbing mood. That's why there's a hangout going.
Why? Yeah.
I heard you were on holiday and you came back.
Yeah, I was away for a couple of weeks, and I'm back now.
Does it seem like you were away for a couple of weeks?
It felt like I was away for eternity. Great holiday.
It was a good holiday. Were you homesick?
Well, when I actually got a phone call from my cousin who was looking after my wee doggy, same kind of wee one as you, Sydney, and she told me my wee doggy was ill. And I phoned from America. I phoned up the vet and I said to them, "Can you take me on the Tuesday morning, the day after I get back? My wee doggy's ill." And they went, "Yes, okay, whatever." Took my wee doggy in, and they told me, "Go away for 3 hours to do tests and come back." Then I went back and they told me the bad news, my dog was dying.
What did he die of?
Diabetes and kidney failure.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's horrible. Must have been an old dog?
It was only 11. 11.
11's young, but you know, old enough to get diabetes.
They says to me that they wanted to put him down because he was in anaesthetic at that moment. And I went, "You're not putting my fucking dog down. No fucking danger." I went, "Give me my dog now." I went fucking mental in the fucking vet surgery. Anyway, she took me through. She went, "Oh, calm down, for goodness sake." So she took me through to see my dog. And she went, "He's unconscious." So I went through, but my dog was waking up. So I says to her, "I want to take my dog home for the night. One more night, I need." And she says, "Oh, well, okay. Now that he's waking up, you can take him home for one more night." So I says to her, "I want to take him home." So I did. And Sydney, it was the best thing I ever done. I took him home. I went to Asda and I bought my wee dog all the stuff he loved. And he ate, he loved eating. My dog loved eating. Any dog loves eating. Anyway, I took him home. I gave him the biggest fucking banquet you could ever fucking imagine.
I can imagine.
I gave him it.
Yeah.
And she went, "And don't take him out on any walks because his kidneys are failing." And I was like, "Well, fuck you." I took him down to the sea. I took him up Arthur's Seat. And I'm not kidding you, Sydney. I got some fantastic videos. The last videos of my wee doggy. And you know what, man? Every time I come in the house, that was on Wednesday, I'm coming in and it's like, this place is like death. I hate my house.
It'll dissipate over time.
It's horrible. Fucking shit. It is absolute fucking shit. You know, I wish I never ever went on that holiday because it was the day after I came back and my cousin, who has got 2 Yorkies herself, and my baby loves going to her house and staying with her. I used to go to my cousins all the time. And I'm not joking you. My dog loves her dogs, and they had such fun and everything like that. I look after her dogs when she goes on holiday, and she looks after mine. So, honest to God, when I took him there, absolutely loving it.
Wow. That's pretty sad.
Are we finished? Sorry, are you still on air?
Yeah?
Anyway,
But
my dog.
not for long. Not for long.
Right. My dog loved going to my cousin's because it was like two Yorkies. You a Yorkie, as you know.
Yep.
Anyway, he loved going there. It was his favourite place to go. And whatever. But I'll tell you what, I was fucking devastated when I heard. Couldn't believe it. I had to take my dog back after one night to have him on my own and then go back and put to sleep.